Hello everyone, it's iPhoneSDKTools here, and today I'll be discussing how to get started with the iPhone development process and the steps you need to take in order to become an iPhone developer. Alright, so getting started, first thing you must have is a Mac. Now, I know that other people might consider, well, you can go ahead and do it on a virtual environment, or you can program the apps on a Hackintosh or use the tool chain. But I recommend you to just go ahead and purchase a Mac if you don't have one, because it will save you from a whole bunch of hassles just trying to get the Xcode installed. And a Mac is a great machine, so why not just go ahead and purchase one? And if you already have one, just make sure it is running OS X 10.5.7. If you have Snow Leopard, then that's perfect. So yeah, just make sure you're running that, because Apple does require you to have the latest software on your Mac in order to be able to program. Now, next is the programming language, which is Objective-C. And if you've never programmed in an object-oriented programming language, such as Java, then I highly recommend you to go ahead and familiarize yourself with Objective-C. So maybe buy a book, or at least look up on some tutorials, and just get your feet wet with that, because it'll make it much easier when you begin iPhone development. If you have done Java or another object-oriented programming language, then you should be good to go, and you can just go ahead and begin the iPhone development process. Next, you must have registered for the iPhone development. And basically, you go to developer.apple.com/iPhone, and you'll come to this site, and you can register. It's free. And what you'll be able to do is download the iPhone SDK, and you'll be able to start programming your applications and run them in the built-in simulator that Apple has provided. Xcode, iPhone Simulator, and a suite of additional tools, which include the interface builder, which is like the UI, and you have some other applications that will allow you to debug and make your app much better. Now, in order to really be an iPhone developer and have the ability to do everything that other iPhone developers are able to do, go ahead and purchase the standard program, which will run you $99. And what that will allow you to do is run your application on your device itself, such as the iPhone and iPod Touch, and it will also allow you to upload the application to the App Store, and you'll have access to all the resources that Apple provides, such as beta firmwares, the forum, and additional resources. So go ahead and purchase that, because if you are considering at all to upload or even like create applications, it's really a worthy investment. And if you're saying, well, $100, it's kind of a lot for me, just think of it in the way where all you have to do is sell 130 copies of your 99-cent application, and it'll cover your cost, because Apple does take off 30% of the profits that you make. Alright, so lastly, what you need is a device to test your app. And you probably will say, well, you just told me that you can do it in the built-in simulator. Well, the simulator is really nice, because it allows you to quickly test your application if you have to make any minor changes. But when you really want to see the functionality of your app, like the speed it's running at, and if it crashes or any other bugs that you might have, you really need an iDevice, because the iDevice, it doesn't have as much. It's much different than a Mac, okay? Because think about it in a way like as if it's a mobile device, like a iPhone. It doesn't have the same like horsepower as a Mac, so you're not gonna be having the same speed, and it's just much better to have a viewpoint of what your end user will see compared to you using it on the Mac or built-in simulator. So go ahead and purchase one of those. You can buy an iPod Touch. You don't have to buy an iPhone. You just buy an iPod Touch for around $200, and you can already start testing your applications. But make sure you pay the developer fee, $100, because if you don't, you won't be able to simulate the apps on the device. There are ways to get around that, but I don't recommend that, because it's not really legal. And as I said, the developer fee, $100, is definitely worth the price. So go ahead and just purchase it. Alright, so to begin programming for the iPhone, you must know how to program, and there are a variety of resources that you can use. And the most important one would be the Dev Center, because you'll be coming back to the Dev Center time and again to look for certain sample codes or to watch their videos or documentation, because they have a wealth of knowledge which every iPhone developer should get to know. And it's really the best resource in my opinion. But if you don't learn best by maybe whatever they have here, if you need maybe a book, then I would suggest going on Amazon, searching for iPhone 3.0 SDK books. And the one that I use, or I have used in the past, is Beginning iPhone 3 Development, Exploring the iPhone SDK. And it's by A-Press. And I think the author is Dave Mark. So it's around $26, and for me it was pretty useful just to begin the process. It's not going to teach you everything, but to get your feet wet and everything like that, and to get you familiarized with how to program and just the environment you'll be programming in, it is a great resource. And so the next resource on my list is the Stanford class that is located on the iTunes U University. And basically what this was a class that they offered in the spring to Stanford students, and they filmed the entire class and put it on iTunes, and it's free to download. And even though it was on 2.2.1 firmware, it's still the core fundamentals that they cover in this class is very useful to people new to the subject matter. And they also have some guest speakers like the guy that created Tweety and Tapulous, which creates Tap Tap Revenge. So I would highly recommend you to check out their videos. And if you see that it's not really for you, then you can just use maybe a book or the other resource that I've said. But this is an excellent resource that I've seen help me a lot, and maybe would help you. So make sure to check out the iTunes or the iPhone application programming class by Stanford. Alright, so the last resource I recommend you to use is YouTube, because YouTube, for me at least, has been pretty useful for some simple tutorials to get you started with the iPhone development process. And that's probably where you found me, but I won't be doing any tutorials for coding. I'll just be doing, as my name suggests, tools for an iPhone developer. But for coding, you can check out any of these tutorials, because they are pretty simple, but they will get you to a certain point where you won't really need to look at other tutorials. You can just go ahead and read the documentation on Apple's website and learn from there. So YouTube is another good resource. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you have, please feel free to subscribe, because I'll be having many more videos. And comment if you think I can improve on anything. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to send me a message or give me a channel comment. And also I have a Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter at iPhoneSDKTools, because I will be posting links to various subject matters, such as like the news for iPhone developers and tutorials sites that might be interesting to iPhone developers. So if you follow me there, you'll have updates from me, and I'll also be posting tweets when I release new videos. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hope you learned something.